So, we are here today with Courtney, where I'm going to interview her to get some insight on what kind of drew her into this work. And I want to start with going back, because you've told me about a time in your life when major burnout happened.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of things come up from that. And I think it was just prior to when we met. You coming into this business, as a matter of fact.
That was like the end of it.
That was the end of it,
Yeah.
right?
So it started when I was in high school, actually.
Okay.
So I was like 16-ish when it started. Um, and it lasted, give or take, a decade
Okay.
of
Wow.
just cycle after cycle of burnout.
Why? What happened during those times that led you to burnout? You knew I was going to go here, right?
Right. Ultimately, it came down to I wasn't taking care of myself, right?
Okay.
If I was going to give it an overarching theme,
Sure.
that's what it would be.
Sure.
How that showed up was I catered to everybody around me.
People pleaser.
Yes.
All right.
Huge people pleaser. If I felt so responsible for everybody else's emotions,
Mm-hmm.
that if they weren't happy, I would take it personally.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So I was so engrossed in that aspect and so involved with making sure that every single person that I was with
Mm-hmm.
liked me. If they
Okay.
didn't like me, then something was wrong with me.
Where did that come from?
A lot. So the people pleasing and the emotional piece of taking responsibility for everybody's emotions, that they both came from childhood. But
Okay.
that piece in particular came from my mom. My
Okay.
mom is also a big people pleaser. She has been for most of her life. So I got a lot of those same habits and patterns from her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when I was very young, my parents got divorced when I was 2. So
So you don't remember the actual divorce itself.
I don't remember my parents ever being together.
Okay. Understood.
I remember my parents being divorced. Yeah.
Okay.
I have no idea what that relationship was like
Okay.
from firsthand
Nor do you
experience.
remember probably the breakdown of the relationship, because when something like
No.
that happens, there's always a breakdown. That's the reason why I was
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's always this breakdown, and how did that affect the child?
Did it
Almost-
affect me?
Did it affect you?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Do I know how?
Right.
No, because I don't remember that time.
You weren't fully present for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But after they got divorced, my mom didn't really have anybody to rely on, so she had me.
Okay.
And
So she used you
yeah,
in a
as
lot of ways.
an emotional processor, as literally a shoulder to cry on. Like I don't have a lot of memory of that, but I have a memory of my mom being like, "Well, you were the only one there for me," and I literally would hold you when I would cry. And we've had conversation about that. I love my mom. My mom is
Sure.
amazing, and I don't. That was a very difficult time in her life, and I can't imagine going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that I never have to.
Of course.
But to go from raising a child with a partner to raising her alone, I think is probably one of the hardest things that a parent would ever have to go through.
Sure. Absolutely.
The making sure that everybody liked me, like that piece, came from my dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Your father's like that?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Well, you just mentioned that your mom was very
Yeah.
similar.
You actually remind me of my dad in the sense that,
Well
like,
then.
he knows everybody and he can get along with anybody.
Okay.
And, like, you can't walk around to a place and find somebody
And
that my
bump-
dad doesn't
right.
know.
Understood.
So, in that sense, you two are very similar. But in this way, my dad is not necessarily somebody who needs to be liked by everybody,
Sure.
but he left me,
Okay.
right? My parents got divorced.
Yep.
He left and got remarried
Right.
and had 2 kids with her.
So right away, you're feeling that abandonment wound.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You're feeling they're not good enough,
Yep.
right? And what's wrong with me,
Yep.
that you had to go start a whole nother family.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I ended up dealing with that by putting my father on a pedestal.
Mm.
He was the one that I had to make sure that he liked me. I had to make sure that I was good enough for him because I didn't fit into his new family, and I never felt like I did, honestly.
Mm.
Um,
Was there ever a day that you did, though, that you got okay with it? Okay.
no, I was there, and I was there.
Okay.
And I felt like I was a puzzle piece that you were trying to force into the puzzle, but it actually belonged to a different puzzle.
Did you, so clearly you felt that way.
Yeah.
Do you know if your father felt that way?
No, I don't know.
And you still don't today?
I don't know.
Okay.
We haven't had that conversation yet.
Yeah.
But I think he knows that I have felt. Maybe
Sure.
not in these words, but
Okay.
in some way different
Understood.
from that family.
Okay.
And again, I love my dad. I love my
Sure.
brother and sister that came out of that relationship that he had with his wife.
Of course.
But I always felt like kind of an outsider.
Understood.
I was also in every other weekender.
All
I
right.
was
So you
only
didn't get
there-
a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
Really getting immersed into the family.
Yeah. He lived 45 minutes away from my mom. So once I started school, once I started kindergarten,
So I'm
I
like,
was with my mom full time, and I only saw him every other weekend.
okay. It's pretty deep stuff,
Yeah.
you know? And you know all these things now.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some things that are kind of left out there,
Oh, yeah.
a little unsaid. How do you, I guess, how do you cope with that today?
It's really about the acceptance. You know, I can't go back and change how things were. But I can accept that my parents did the best that they could in the position that they were in. Like, it was the other day, and I was like, you know what? If my parents stayed together, one, I wouldn't have my brother and sister. But two, my God, what would my life have been like?
You can't even go there. You don't want to go there.
Well, I don't.
Have you imagined that?
When I was younger,
Sure.
every kid wants their
every
parents
kid.
together.
They do. They do.
You know, so when
Yeah.
I was younger, yeah, absolutely. But I had that thought the other day, and I was like, it could have been disastrous. Like, I only know snippets of their relationship because of what I've heard from
Right.
either one of them growing up and stuff like that. So I know that there was a lot of tension. I know
Mhm.
that there was a lot of stress. But
Where has that put you? Like, where did it put you? Because clearly, like, we started off by saying, well, you got to that point of, like, burnout,
yeah,
right? So how did this all kind of, like, wrap itself up and lead to that place where you were burnt out?
so again, not taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was constantly looking to everybody else instead of relying on myself.
Right.
And I would push myself harder. I was in 5th grade, I think, and I was a straight A student up until that point. I loved school. I loved my teachers. I loved making friends.
Mhm.
I loved everything that people told me to love.
Did you? Clearly.
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
But I remember in 5th grade, I got a C
Mhm.
in social studies. First, anything below an A.
Wow. You were that person. I can't say that I was.
Now you know where burnout came from.
Uh-huh.
I had to work really hard to get there.
Overachieving.
Yes.
Okay.
But when I got that C, I remember bringing my report card home and my mom being like, "What is that? You don't get C's." And so it added an extra pressure on me, especially as I moved into middle school,
Sure.
high school, where things got
literally set the standard.
Yeah,
And the people around you expected that.
exactly. And so moving into those places, I knew that I couldn't get a C anymore. If I did, I would disappoint somebody.
Okay.
Most people. It wasn't just my mom. It was also my grandparents. It was my dad. It was the whole like authoritative figures in my life.
How did you cope back then?
I didn't,
Okay.
which was part of the problem.
So how did that show up though in like normal everyday life for you?
Stuffing down emotions.
Okay.
Stuffing everything down.
Were you an angry tween?
No.
Okay.
No, I was bubbly. I was bright. If you asked
Okay.
everybody else, I was the happiest person in the
I
world.
see. You showed up as the opposite of what you felt.
Yep.
Okay.
And there even was a time in that, and we talked a little bit about this, but I was really, really close to my grandmother.
Mhm.
And I lost her when I was 12, 13, somewhere around there. It tore my life apart
Yeah.
to lose her. Somebody that I felt like I could be myself around, and to have that person, that one person that made me feel that way, go away.
Mhm.
God, it completely changed my life. She had cancer, so it was terminal, we knew. Um, I remember going to my guidance counselor in middle school and talking with her and telling her snippets of how I felt, you know? And she was like, I think you might be depressed. Do you want to tell your mom or do you want me to?
Mm.
And I was like, nope, I want you to do it.
Wow.
There was no way that I was going to disappoint my mother.
Right.
We know how that ends up.
to imagine that you lived it, to think that you're depressed and you didn't quote unquote cause it, and yet that would cause your mom to be disappointed in you. That's what you thought.
Yeah. Well, and that's ultimately a little bit of what came to fruition. And it wasn't necessarily the fact that I was depressed that caused her to be disappointed. It was the fact that I didn't tell her.
Okay.
So it was a lose-lose for me.
Understood.
In my head, right?
Okay.
As my 12, 13-year-old self.
Yep.
But that was really the first time that I was able to feel emotions, quote unquote, or express myself in a way that wasn't perfect, bubbly, bright, because I had a label on it. I had already been labeled as depressed. So I could then be like, oh no, I'm just depressed. I'm just depressed.
So you used it.
For sure.
Okay.
But that also didn't take me away from being the bubbly, bright
Sure.
mask that I had on, because I was still that way.
Got it.
But I definitely utilized, the grief that I felt for my grandmother
Mhm.
passing as a way to move through a lot of emotions that I didn't move through when I was younger
Yep.
with other things. I didn't feel like I could.
Okay.
I was allowed to be sad when my grandmother passed.
And in that moment, that kind of brought some stuff out.
Yeah.
You and I have had similar
Yeah.
experiences because my grandmother passed away when I was 10.
Yeah.
And she was like a staple in my life, like that rock
Yeah.
for me, and it very much so for you, yours with you.
Yeah.
And I know that was like, when I think back, that was one of the very first times that I remember being able to be
Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
Being able to like question, like, well, why is she gone? I don't understand. And in
And
that
I had
moment, it
that
was
too.
okay for me
Yeah.
to question those things. My parents were like, well, yeah, these are normal things.
Mhm.
But everything else wasn't that normal thing. Like,
Yeah.
why do you feel that way? Why? No, just do it. Just,
Yep.
So it's strange that we have this place where we can feel normal when somebody passes, leaves our world.
But
Right.
then like a couple weeks go by and they're like, nope,
Nope, it's fine. Everything's good.
yeah, you can't feel that way anymore.
Right.
That's how I felt. It's not what they were saying,
Yeah.
but it was okay, well, everybody else seems to be moving on, so I have to gather myself up and I can't feel this way anymore.
Sure.
Right? So then you continue to push down that grief. And I've had, unfortunately, a lot of experience with death in my life. Like, I had an uncle that passed away when I was 8 or 9. I had an aunt that passed away. Her birthday actually was yesterday. Yeah. Right a couple years before my grandmother passed, and then my grandmother passed. So those were like kind of 3 big ones.
Sure.
I was very close with my aunt as well. She literally lived upstairs from us.
Sure.
We had a 2-family home, so I was always with her. So it was those times where I was like, okay, I can feel certain things and I can express that, but any other time I could not.
Forget it.
Yeah, there was no anger.
Right.
There was no, I don't even know what else. The only thing that I could express was grief in very short periods of time.
So let's talk about that,
Yeah.
because you fast forward to today. You do the work that you do with clients,
Yep.
right? And you have that really big catalyst moment in your life. How does that affect you throughout the remaining teenage years of your life into your 20s? And how did it mess with your nervous system?
Okay, so fast forward to high school. And again, I was continuing to people please. I was continuing to allow people to walk all over me. I was trying to make everybody like me, all of that stuff. Nothing changed there, right? The catalyst was my grandmother died. I felt like life sucked at that point in time. And I dwelled in that misery for a really long time. So what did I do? Well, I added on more dance classes because that was my thing. I was a dancer growing up.
Okay.
I loved dancing. It was a way for me to express my emotions
Of course.
under the disguise
Of perfectionism.
and of the music. My
Right.
favorite dance, oh my God, what is it called? Style? Modern lyrical,
Okay.
where oftentimes sad songs are chosen.
Okay.
So I was able to get into a character and showcase that side of me
Sure.
in a way that people were accepting of
Right. You could play it out.
and act like I wasn't.
And you hear this a lot in the acting world,
Yep.
I had a similar experience where I could act out a couple different things that I was part of when I was younger, and they were sad stories and whatnot, and I could use that to kind of
Yeah.
let some things out. And you hear that a lot in the acting world, that they take what they've gone through and they heal from it by playing these
Acting,
characters.
singing, or songwriting, like all of those creative modalities are such a great way to release emotion. And that's why I always kind of come back to dance. And people think I'm crazy. Like, they're like, what do you mean? You can just dance away your feelings. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
seriously. But it's such an intimate, personal process that doing so can just allow you to get rid of all the things that,
Sure.
that you need to. So I did deal with it in that way a little bit. I added more dance classes. I TA'd. I was a teaching assistant for
Okay.
a couple of different classes. I joined a lot of different groups in school. At that point in time, I was with my husband.
I was going to say,
So, like,
I'm going to bring
yeah.
him up for a minute.
yeah.
Yeah. This guy has been with you
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
31.
All right.
Over
So,
half our lives together.
Over half your lives together. So he met you at a time when you were feeling this weight
Yeah.
of life, and these things that were going on. How did that show up in your relationship with him early on?
It didn't.
Okay.
It didn't.
You hid it.
Yes. Because that was the only thing I knew how to do.
For how long?
Definitely through high school.
Okay.
And possibly a little bit into college as well, which there's another catalyst within college that I experienced that kind of forced me to start having certain conversations with him
Sure.
about how I felt and the way that I thought how I process things. Um, but he, even in high school when we first met, he would get snippets of who I really was. Because he made me feel comfortable. He made me
Okay.
feel safe.
So you were comfortable enough in those safe moments to be like, well, I think I could show him just
A little bit.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Isn't that really what we do in relationships, right? When somebody makes us feel comfortable enough, we're able to kind of let that wall down, let that guard down a little bit, right? And then they get to see the real person, and they're
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, who are you? You know?
He's had that happen more times
Yeah.
than he can count. Because I can guarantee you, I am not the same person that I was at 15. I am
There's
not the
no
same
way.
person that I was at 20.
It is why I asked you the question, because you fast forward to today, you're this person, right? And he has seen you through a lot of transformation and changes.
This dude loves me, not for like my personality. I
Sure.
can tell you that.
Okay, all right.
Not just that, at least he, I have no question, because he's been the kind of one constant in my life,
Right.
the one person that's stayed with me, and been by my side through a lot of
long time.
really tough things.
Yeah. So, talk to me about what your like typical day is in the life of like making sure you're nervous, because that's ultimately what we're talking about here is the
Yeah.
nervous system, right?
Yeah.
So your nervous system is fried,
Yep.
right? You get to a point you realize it's fried,
Yep.
right? What do you start doing?
So when I was in the midst of burnout cycles, I started introducing things like, they started out as control
Mm-hmm.
and eased their way into other things. Eating healthier, working out. That's where I found a lot of weight training, Pilates, yoga. I was doing all of that stuff. Meditation was another
Okay.
one that I kept coming back to at that point in time. And I didn't know about anything.
Okay, you're just
back then.
figuring it out.
I was just going for a ride,
Okay.
seeing what helped me and what didn't, and sticking with the things that did feel
Okay.
good.
So you tried a lot of things.
I tried a lot of things.
Okay.
Ultimately, what I have found, and when I reflect back on that time in my life, I found the right things.
Mm-hmm.
It was this that was the problem with it.
Mm.
Right?
I did. You got to elaborate.
Because instead of just eating healthy,
Mm-hmm.
I utilized food as a control mechanism. So when everything outside of me, when nothing was going right, I could at least control the food that I ate. I could at
Makes
least
sense.
control the amount of calories that came in my system.
Okay.
I could at least control the fact that I moved my body
You found safety.
in disguise of control.
I was gonna say it's an illusion, right? It's an illusion,
Yes.
but you found some semblance of safety.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. And in those times, it felt like, okay, well, if I can do this, then I can do the other things. It felt a little bit more empowering to me. Looking back, it probably wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it got me through. And so when I found meditation, I was the person that was like, I can't meditate. What do you mean I need to sit still for
Most people.
freaking 10 minutes?
Yep.
No.
Most people watching this right now are saying the same thing,
Yes.
right? So,
Yep.
what little tip could you give them right now? Because I've given them one of like setting a little timer.
Yeah.
You know, like sit in it for 10 seconds.
Yeah, start small and work your way up
Right.
would also be my tip. I would wake up in the morning and I would set a timer for a minute.
Okay.
A minute. And I would just sit there.
What would you do in that minute?
Close my eyes and breathe.
Still thinking all your thoughts, right?
Still thinking all my thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'd move on with my day. And it was like after a week or two, I'd add another minute or two, right? And I would sit there for 3 minutes then. And I'd have to
Mhm.
sit there with my
Okay.
thoughts, all of them, rushing around in my head. No clue what they were saying. They were just like ghosts,
Bouncing all
Like,
over the place. Yeah.
you know, coming in and skirting
Yeah.
around. And I met people at that time in college who were like, no, I go out and I meditate in the woods for 40 minutes every morning. And I'm like,
That's a long time.
never gonna get there.
Right.
I don't know how you do it. Never gonna get there. But you slowly work up to it. That would be what I would say. And also, if I were able to give myself a piece of advice to 22-year-old Courtney trying to meditate, it would be, you're not doing it wrong, but you're also not thinking about it right. Like, meditation isn't what everybody tells you it is.
No, it's not.
Like, it's supposed to be hard at first. You're supposed to sit in the muck of your thoughts.
You're not used to doing that, number one, and the reason why you're always doing something is because you're running away from
My
your
thoughts.
You don't want to think your thoughts because you know what your thoughts are saying. You're the only one that does.
They were
you
horrible.
know?
My thoughts were like, you're a lazy piece of shit. Like,
Yeah.
you're
not
how
enough.
dare you
You're
not
not-
do
yeah.
any, like, if I wasn't being productive, I wasn't worth anything.
Most people think like that these days, and that's why
Yeah.
they're running at 100 miles an hour every minute of every day.
Yeah.
And I've talked to people. I just look at their day and I look at their schedule, and I say to myself, you know, like 50% of your day, like it's just stuff.
Yeah.
Like these are things. Well, they need to get done. Yeah, but not in the way that you've ordered them. You've actually created a structure of chaos.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you say that that was something that you were doing?
Yeah, because I was waking up early, like 5 o'clock early, going to the gym, burning myself out there. I was exhausted in the gym, and I would push myself, lift heavier, go longer. I'd spend at least an hour there,
Right.
if not more, every day, like at least 6 days a week. Then it was, okay, gotta go back, gotta get ready for class. I was in classes for a majority of the day. When I wasn't in classes, I either was eating, doing homework, or in a group.
Okay.
So I was a big part of the extracurricular activities in
So
college.
you were always doing something.
Yeah. My senior year of college, I was working 3 different jobs, one of them being off campus. I was living off campus with my now husband, so I had an apartment to take care
Sure.
of. I also was applying to grad school. I had changed my major concentration and also altered my minors. So I was taking full course load of classes. Like, if I had tried to take one more class, they'd be like, no.
So it's no wonder that your system ends up burning out,
Yeah.
right?
I was forcing myself to go past my breaking point every single
How did
day.
that show up for you?
I constantly got sick.
Okay.
And
what
then I
did you do
wouldn't
in those
allow
moments?
myself to be sick.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember those days.
I would allow myself like one day,
Yeah.
right? And then I would push through and be like, well, I've got class today.
Yep.
Well, I've got to do
Gotta
this.
go.
Well, I've
Gotta
got to,
go.
yep.
Blowing my nose and going to work.
Yeah,
And going
I've got
yeah.
all of these things. I can't just leave it.
No.
I can't just miss class.
Okay.
I need the A.
And then what happens? How
Well,
much more did it start showing up, and in what ways?
it got to the point where the sickness came sooner and sooner and sooner. So like I would go and get sick, and then it would be like 3 months later I would get sick. And then it would be 6 weeks, and then it would be 5 weeks, and then it would be 4 weeks. And then all of a sudden I was basically sick all
Just
the time.
sick.
Yeah. Like I almost always, it was like every couple of weeks I would get a cold.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Your immune system was just down,
Shot.
fighting every
Yeah.
single day for its life.
Yeah, that and like headaches. I'm gonna go there because I'm a woman.
Sure.
My period, awful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in so much pain because of the stress level that I was in,
Right.
and that affects all of that.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit of how you've come out of it,
Yeah.
right? Are there
Slowly
still,
but surely.
there's still moments
Oh yeah.
that there's this fear of sliding back into that place.
Yeah.
What's that look like for you? Like what? Give me an example of something that comes.
Resistance.
Okay.
It looks like resistance. It literally is like
Towards.
like moving forward,
Okay.
right? So it's this thing within me that's like,
Mm.
no, no, we can't do that, right?
Mhm.
Because the nervous system likes familiar,
Right.
and you get really comfortable being comfortable.
Sure.
And the nervous system thrives there, but it doesn't expand capacity.
No, you're not doing it any service whatsoever.
No.
It's a big disservice, as a matter of fact, for you to stay stuck in that space.
Yes.
Just because it's comfortable and it's what you know doesn't mean it's right for you.
Exactly. And there's a way to do most things, not all things, a little bit at a time,
Mhm.
so that you're not, if this is your line for your nervous system and how comfortable it is, you can push it just this much
Mhm.
past that line instead of that much.
Vaulting it
You
over.
know, like
Yeah.
that creates a lot more stress than just,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna be here today.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still fear that I'm going to backslide into those burnout
Mhm.
pieces, but also I know now that I can bring myself out of it. I've proven to myself that I can come out of burnout.
So a lot of people watching this may not know what that feels like.
Which piece?
Knowing that you brought yourself out of it. Maybe they're still stuck in it,
Yeah.
right? What is the one simplest thing that you would give them for a piece of advice? If we were to end this right now, what is the one thing you would leave them with saying, hey, start here?
Slow down.
You're asking them to do something that is so against their nature when their nervous system is fried. Because
But
the reason the
that's-
nervous system is fried is because they've been going at 100 miles an hour.
That's what the nervous system is literally screaming at you
Mm.
for when you're in burnout.
So, how? We can tell you to slow down all day long,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, it's the how do I slow down?
You start by taking small portions of your life and doing them intentionally slowly. So one thing that I love to do, walking. And I start slowing myself down when I walk.
Mm.
Instead of walking like you have a purpose, walk leisurely.
Like taking a stroll through the woods.
Yeah.
And actually paying attention to the rocks, the leaves, the logs, the roots.
Keep your phone at
the
home,
animals.
throw it on do not disturb,
Mm.
whatever you need to do to not look at your phone. And actually be where you're at. Right? That's one of the something that I also have done a lot is like, I used to rush through making dinner. Like, oh, I gotta do this, then I gotta do this. This has to get done. This has to.
Mhm.
No. One, I ask my husband for help now. So that's a good thing to do, is start asking for help. But two
Because
is,
you can't do it all alone, by the way.
No.
You can. You'll feel like this.
listen, it took me years and years and years to figure out how to get out of burnout because I thought I had to do it all on my own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't. I could have been
been.
here so much sooner if I had just not done it on my own.
I just went through that today. I just went through that today. You saw Andrea come in. Why'd she come in?
Because
She picked up my car
yeah.
and took it to get an oil change. Now, I'm actually the guy who actually does the oil changes. So I grew up with a mechanic as a father, right? So I know how to do a lot of work myself, right? And I do love working on the cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something nice about it. It's very basic. I'm working with my hands and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I've gotten to a place where I've got a million tasks and I'm growing the business and I'm in a certain space and role in there. And ultimately, it has forced me to rethink a lot of things. So
Yeah.
this morning,
You have
she's
to
like,
reprioritize
Yeah.
your tasks and figure out what is actually a
Mhm.
priority versus what is just
yeah,
noise.
yeah. I said, no, honey. I said, this morning, I'll take the cars. I'll come back. I'll do yours tomorrow. I'll take mine today. And she looked at me. She goes, I got nothing going on today. I'll do
Mhm.
that. It was I gotta tell you, it was slightly uncomfortable because I'm not used to, number one, accepting help.
Yeah.
And I will do it. I'll get it. I'm the man. I'm supposed to do this, quote unquote, right? But in that moment, I was like, well, if she does that, that's going to enable me
Yeah.
to do all these other things, which in turn helps her, helps us.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. So you've accepted
Yeah.
some of that help from
Accepted some of the
your
help.
husband.
Yep. And I also will go through it slower, giving yourself a little bit more time. Because what am I going to do instead? Watch TV? Scroll on social media?
So, do you think multitasking is bad?
Yes. Yeah.
I thought I was the master at multitasking.
Oh my God, I was so good at it.
So good at it. There's so many of us out there that are amazing at multitasking. It is horrible for your nervous system.
And also, like, I've realized over the last few years, I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to have 12 million tabs open in my head trying to figure everything out.
Right.
I'd rather just focus on one or two very small things at a time and deal with the rest later.
Yeah. Yeah. I still multitask food prep sometimes in the morning. Like a couple things going at the same
Listen,
time.
if I'm cooking rice and I don't
You
have
know?
to be active
Yeah.
with it, I'm gonna go do
Cutting
something
stuff
else.
up while the thing is going over
Yeah,
here, you know,
yeah,
pouring
that's fine.
this, you know. But we're really talking about like you're trying to get 5 major projects or tasks done. That's what we're talking about. So slow down is your biggest piece of advice.
Yeah.
That you would leave them with.
Oh yeah.
Okay. What else would you add? We're gonna end it here because it seems like it's starting to wrap up with that. Because honestly, we want to leave you with that biggest piece of advice. You obviously got to know Courtney a little bit more today, right? And understand what has brought her to where she is today in working with clients in the nervous system. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I think the only other piece, and again, this is something that I wish somebody would have told me at the time, is life is really about having fun and actually living. And when I went through basically my whole life, I didn't realize how miserable I was. Like, from a very young age, I don't know if I can ever remember being extremely happy at
Joyous.
any point in time. Like, a couple years ago, last year, 2 years ago, I read a book called Play, and I think I said to you, I don't know how to play. I don't remember in childhood if I ever did really play. You know, and reading through that book, it allowed me to be like, oh, well, I have to actually find fun in my life and not take it so seriously. Because honestly, like, there's 2 truths in life.
Okay.
Maybe 3. You're born, you die, and it's always going to constantly be changing.
Constantly. And you get to choose living in the middle.
Yeah.
Get to choose. And what that means is being present for your life. Because you hear all these stories where all of a sudden people are on their deathbeds and they're not telling you that they wanted more money, they wanted more time.
Yeah. More time with family, more time with friends. They wish they would have said, you know, I love you to somebody more.
They wish they didn't
would have
hate or
hugged
hold that
people
anger
more.
in their heart, you know? Yeah. Courtney, thank you for
Thank you.
sharing yourself with the audience and, you know, learning a little bit about you.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for interviewing. Thank you all for being here, for listening. Yeah.
we'll see you soon.